Hello. Today we're doing Chapter 15, Logistics and Distribution Management. We're going to explain what logistics is, and we're going to contrast logistics and warehouse design alternatives, and also analyze logistics-driven location decisions. FedEx, we've all heard of them. In this instance, FedEx, the speed is hidden in its logo. Started in 1971. It owns over 50 aircraft and 85,000 motorized vehicles, and everybody knows that FedEx means speed. The arrow between the E and the X stands for the speed and accuracy. And the corporate vision is information about the package is as important as the delivery of the package itself. And they strive to deliver at the exact time as the estimated time of delivery given by the tracking system. In many instances they're wrong, but I would recommend that if you are receiving a FedEx package and it's late and you don't get it in the prescribed time, call them up and get a refund. Because remember, if you don't ask, that's right, you don't get. Logistics. The definition of logistics, it's the art and science of obtaining, producing, and distributing material and product in the proper place and in the proper quantities. International logistics is managing these functions when the movement is on a global scale. And most companies today, logistics is international logistics. Also, we have something called third-party logistics company. And this is an outside company. It's used to manage all or part of another company's logistics functions. Sometimes companies aren't very good at being able to manipulate and ship their products worldwide, maintain a warehouse with an inventory system, etc. So they outsource that to another company, and they're experts in it. So the company could focus on its core businesses, which probably are not logistics, warehousing, and distribution. It might be marketing, it might be product development, or whatever. But at least there are companies out there that can handle this part of your business if the company can't do that. There's different type of transportation modes, which is important in logistics. Truck, ship, plane, train, pipeline. No package is needed for a pipeline, and it's probably one of the most efficient modes of transportation and in terms of quantities that are moved. Hand delivery, last step in many supply chains, and multimodal solutions are the norm. Multimodal being the different transportation modes, and sometimes there's multiple. Here is a logistics system design matrix framework describing logistics processes. So, volume, when you have a lot of volume, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a way in which to move your product in a high volume way. So water, sometimes it'll be boat or a container ship, rail, obviously the containers go on the rail. Highway is probably the largest amount of movement of product. Pipeline is also important, and also air for those shipments that have to be there absolutely, positively overnight. And the cost of speed of delivery, the faster the delivery, the higher the cost, and we can see that from the bottom of the matrix where you have air. There are different types of distribution facilities. You've got a warehouse distribution center, cross-docking. I believe I discussed this in the last PowerPoint, where cross-docking is when a truck delivers product and it comes right off the truck and then it goes into another truck for shipment. This is the most efficient way of shipping, and this is where you get your most inventory turns, because the product isn't even put on the shelves in a warehouse or a distribution center. It stays on the dock and it moves from one side to the other and it's gone. And then you have something called hub and spoke systems, and then also a fulfillment center. The common processes within distribution facilities are inventory tracking, receiving, storing or stowing, picking, packing, and last but not least, shipping. And the DC, or distribution facility, must be able to accurately receive inventory delivered at receiving and loading docks. I have been in probably hundreds of warehouses and distribution centers with hundreds of millions of dollars worth of product, and they all have a variety of security systems, etc. But I'm always fascinated when I tour one of these facilities, because I'm very observant about what goes on, and I can give you a pretty good report because I've done consulting for companies and visiting other facilities. I'm able to come up with the scenario of how things are working. Sometimes I can discover what isn't working, and then report back to whoever has hired me for the report. On the outbound side of the facility, picking and packing are the common functions performed. Amazon supply chain. Amazon's interesting. They're huge. They have a large network of distribution centers. I'm from Florida. I live in Florida, and I can tell you that Amazon is just building facilities. They just keep building them because they're getting more and more popular. The first mile facilities consist of receiving centers and something called Amazon Air Hubs. The middle mile fulfillment centers are large. Orders are sorted by zip code and then sent in batches to the last mile delivery stations. And now Amazon is using drones in some areas to deliver to hard-to-get places. Locating logistics facilities. This is an important concept because you want to make sure that when you locate a logistics facility, it makes sense for the customer. Because if it's close by, you'll be able to deliver a product quicker. Also, the business climate. Do you want to be in an area where you're going to draw business? It can include presence of similar sized businesses or businesses in the same industry and other foreign companies. This could be like a corporate park, or sometimes you'll see a cluster of warehouses and distribution centers all in one particular area. But the objective, whether it's proximity to customers or business climate, is to minimize the overall cost. Tariffs. It's a special type of tax on the import or export of a country that is used by governments to generate revenue. Many times tariffs are also used by governments to protect a domestic industry from the importation of foreign goods that are significantly cheaper. Infrastructure is really important because if you're going to build a logistics facility, you better make sure that your roads can handle the traffic that's going to be coming to it, and also make sure that there's adequate rail, road, air, and sea transportation, as well as energy and telecommunications. You better make sure you're going to be able to communicate with your customers and your vendors. Also, what kind of people are living in the area? Do you have a good labor market that has the educational and skill levels that match the needs of the company? So these are all things that you need to look at when you're taking a look at locating logistic facilities. What about suppliers? Sometimes facility location is right next to suppliers, so you can minimize the time that it takes for delivery of product to the facility. There are other facilities as well that are nearby that you can work on it. Then there's something called free trade zones, and these are locations designated by a government entity that will provide tax breaks sometimes. And then you have something called political risk. A risk in both the country of location and the host country influence the decision. If you have volatility in the political climate in the country that you're doing business with, that is an additional risk factor, and that might make the decision not to build in that area. Government barriers. Barriers in many countries are being removed so that there can be ease of business transactions that take place. Trading blocks. Firms located within a block to take advantage of new markets or lower total cost. You have environmental regulations, host communities, and also competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? That's right, Donovan. The location should provide the company with a competitive advantage over its other competition in the industry. Plant location methods, there's 3 different kinds here that we're going to talk about. Something is called factor rating system, also transportation method of linear programming, and then the centroid method. Factor rating system is the most widely used, and the list of factors is developed, and the factors that are developed are endemic to the individual businesses that are looking for the rating system. And the range of possible points is assigned to each factor. And this is all subjective to the company that is using this. And each site is rated against each factor, and the sums of assigned points for each site are computed, and the site with the most points is selected. So here is just a definition: fuels and region, power availability, labor climate. These are all the different type of factors, and then the range of scoring is put there. And then each one of the locations, like I said, is rated, and then the site with the most points is selected. The next one we're looking at is the transportation method of linear programming. 2 common objectives. You want to minimize the cost of shipping the units to the different destinations, in this case N units to M destinations. Maximize profit of shipping them as well. So how do you do that?